Alright, e-bike review day today, and it's the Marin Alpine Trail E2. Well, is it Marin or Marin? I've always called it Marin, and some of you guys on the channel may be completely shocked at this, but I was wrong. So it's actually Marin, from Marin County in California, sort of the supposed birthplace of mountain biking. Have actually been for a ride there once. Wish I'd had an e-bike, to be honest. But Marin, they've made bikes since 1986, so one of the oldest mountain biking companies, and they made some pretty iconic bikes in that time. So the question I guess asked is this an iconic bike? The other thing we need to ask is that would you swap your carbon Trek rail for this thing? And the reason I say that is Graham, or Captain Sender, who's a regular on the channel, he's done exactly that. He's sold the Trek rail, he's bought this thing instead. In fact, he wanted this the whole time, but supply issues, yada yada yada. But anyway, he's finally got one. So I guess the question is, he seems to know what he's doing, so why did he do such a thing? So you're thinking, what a great mate. He's given our good old Lance his brand new bike to take out and do a review on. Well, Graham's exact words were, you can ride my bike when hell freezes over. So I think it's kind of ironic that my good friends won't let me touch their bikes, but people who don't know me that well will gladly let me ride them. Don't know what that says. Anyway, let's have a wee butchers at this thing, shall we? It's a mullet, aluminium frame, Shimano EP8 motor, 630 watt hour battery. It's got some pretty nice suspension on this thing actually. Beautiful set of Fox 38s up the front. Matched out the back with a Fox DHX2 coil out the back. It's a 160/150 bike. It's got brakes, Shimano SLX 4-pot brakes, and at the drivetrain it's got a 12-speed XT drivetrain. So a pretty nicely sort of spec'd bike. Actually, the first ride I did on this thing, I actually took it out at night. I'm not sure whether that's normally how you get the feel for a bike, is to take it out at night. But anyway, I just wanted to get as much miles on this thing as I could. So anyway, I'll show you what it looks like. Had a crack at how good a jump line in the dark. Alright, I'm not sure if the best way to test a bike's jumping ability is at night on the first run, but it is what it is. Oh, that feels alright. Oh, it's good. So far so good. I'll take the middle line, be a chicken. Still a good drop. Oh, right. So we get the big line. Oh, a little bit slow. Maybe I should practice in the daylight. Oh, nice. Very stable, this thing. Whee! Oh, I will take that. Alright, well the night ride went pretty well, although probably not the best way to get a feel for a bike that you've never ridden before. Especially, and there's something about this bike that makes it maybe not quite perfect for me. And that is maybe the size of this thing. This is actually an extra large. This has a 505 reach. The wheelbase is so long, I put this on the back of my trailer on my two-lay rack and really struggled to get it to fit on. So she's a big old bike. The medium in this bike is a 465, which is probably about perfect for me. So some of you will say, what's the point in reviewing a bike that's too big for you? Well, it is what it is, eh? But anyway, it's got a 63-degree head angle on this thing. So combined, it's a long wheelbase, slack bike, coil. She feels much like a bigger travel bike. She's not a 180, 170 kind of bike, but she kind of feels like that. And she did handle really, really well. Anyway, let's go and take her out, take her on a bit of a techie downhill track, eh? Alright, time for a bit of downhill. Now, one good thing is with these reviews, I am quite adaptable to bikes. And when I first got on this, I thought, I'm never going to be able to review this. It's simply too big. But I am kind of getting used to it. One thing about it is that it's a 505 reach, which is the longest reach I've ever ridden on a bike. But I guess one good thing is it's really stable. It feels really solid downhill. Little less maneuverable, but you don't feel like it's going to buck you off. Probably should say that at the bottom, really. Of course, the 63-degree head angle makes it feel, I guess, even longer. It's only 150, 160, but it gets the feel of a much burlier bike.
feels like a downhill beast. Oh, that's better. Okay, fairly rough through here, but yeah, soaking it up nice. Whoa, 2 lines, pick one. Whoa, she's loose, but again, feels super stable and no problem across all the chunk. See if I can pop a little bit. Oh, not really.
Alright, well, it managed a bit of downhill stuff pretty well. Actually, the more I rode this bike, the more I got used to it. One thing that I am reasonably good at is adapting to different types of bikes. I always think it's funny that my friends get a new bike and they ride the family trail for the first 6 months because they just need to warm up. I usually find within about 15-20 minutes I can usually ride something reasonably comfortable. And even though this bike is clearly, if I was buying this bike I would go for a shorter one, I felt pretty relaxed on it, and as the day went on was sending more and more big stuff. Shimano EP8 motor, I'm not going to say too much about that because, well, it's not exactly a new motor. It's been around a while. Certainly not going to do any range tests. Climbed hills fine, but who wants to see that? Especially with a long wheelbase, no problems going up the hills. Brakes, had those Shimano SLX 4-pot brakes, not the most expensive brakes, but pretty good value for money. 203 rotors front and back, had no issue stopping. Again, drivetrain did pretty much what it said on the box. 12-speed XT drivetrain, pretty reliable. Jumping, I really did enjoy jumping this bike. In fact, probably better do it in the daylight. So why don't we do another rundown how good in the daylight.
Alright, I did this jump run last night in the dark with lights on. Probably wasn't the best test, so let's try it in daylight. Right, try the big line. Oh, nice, smooth. Oh, doing much better tonight with a bit of daylight, bit of confidence. Oh, whoa. She goes super long. Be interesting to see what happens down here. Oh, sails over it.
Alright, I think we can all agree that a bit of daylight and a few hours practice can make the world of difference. So the second run down there in the daylight was much better than during the night. I was a little bit nervous when I've got someone else's bike and what I should do on it and what I shouldn't do on it. Aviators I think is always a big test. If you're feeling super confident, that's the one. So we did do Aviator. I must admit, just sailed over it. I was really pleased. I guess the bike does feel, that's one thing, it feels really stable. The suspension performs really well. It feels really plush on the landings, so there's certainly nothing to complain about. Did also take it out, did a few skinnies on Bert and Ernie, and again, bike felt really comfortable, really stable. In fact, I felt really comfortable on this bike full stop. I think I could gladly ride this thing all day, or well, until the battery runs out anyway. Alright, couple of minor things about this bike. Tyres. Maxxis Assegai comes with on the website, but actually this I got told by the owner, The Tyre Co. It's no Maxxis Assegai. I guess maybe a COVID issue, they didn't have Maxxis tyres. I guess you can always go and find some and swap them out. Now you may say it's got a beautiful Maxxis Assegai and a DT Swiss wheel on the rear. But this bike doesn't come with this wheel, or the tyre for that matter. The owner, who's actually a bigger unit than me, yes, that's possible, he actually managed to wreck the rear wheel, put a big ding in it. I don't know whether it was bad luck, bad riding, low tyre pressure, but anyway, the wheel didn't survive, so he's got a new wheel on it already. The wheels it comes with are sort of Marin's own wheels, so that is one issue I think we are seeing a little bit with e-bikes, is that some of the wheels, especially the rear wheel, needs to be mega downhill rated, super tough, because they do fall apart pretty easy with the weight of these things and the jumping and the sheer aggression that some of us ride these things with them. Now, this is something, I don't know why I have to do it, why I can't just keep my mouth closed and not say something controversial that upsets half my viewers. But I'm going to, because that's me. Aluminium, carbon. Which should you choose, really? To be honest, on an e-bike, the weight isn't really an issue. I don't think, anyone who tells me they can tell the performance between carbon and aluminium in the rigidity of the frame, I just think is full of it, because I certainly can't. They both break, but I like carbon. And one thing I do like about carbon is I love the pure form and the lines, and I'm not a big fan of these sort of chunky industrial welds. That's real bike snob thing, isn't it, really? Because it's just aesthetics, really, in a lot of ways. I do think this bike is kind of cool. It's kind of got this industrial look to it with the grey and everything. It's quite a nice finished looking bike. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just personally not really a big fan of the big welds. But anyway, that's certainly no reason not to buy this bike. And in fact, buying this bike, I believe in New Zealand you can get them for 10.5 New Zealand dollars. I'll let you guys do the exchange rates wherever you are. But that's not bad money, actually, for what e-bikes are going for, especially with this suspension. So, yeah, something to consider. One thing is, I came to why did Graham buy this? And I can understand why he's bought it. It's a slack bike, it's got a coil, it's a mullet, but more importantly, it's a little bit different, and I like that. I like having a bike that is not the same as every other person in the bike park, so having something a little bit different, and I think Graham takes after me on that respect. Anyway, if you haven't found this review a complete load of mad rambling, and you haven't subscribed, I'd love it if you did that. Thumbs up, like if you already have, and I'll always try and answer as many of your comments as I can. So until then, let's go and see if we can find another bike to review, eh? See you later.